Welcome to version 2, or version 0.2 really, of my hack together home workshop. Workbench. It's really just a bench in the garden. But it's better than what I did the original EV conversion on, which was just a Black & Decker workmate. A very tired, very rusty, very old Black & Decker workmate. So I built this pre-garage, and it allowed me to install lathe, albeit a very cheap one, which is what allowed me to redo my coupler and make it straight. It's also a place for a pillar drill and a vise, and now with a bit of re-engineering of the door, space to permanently have my bench grinder, which has got a wire wheel on it now, and sanding belt / sanding disc for tidying things up, which also means this side of the bench is clear for actually doing stuff on. So what am I actually going to do? In this video, a bit more on the brakes and calipers. Brought my air tools home, so hopefully I can adapt something to force these pistons out with a bit of compressed air. We'll see whether they're completely shot, and get the wire wheel on these carriers and these hubs to see what they start to look like. And yeah, it's absolutely roasting hot, so I'm not going to keep the camera on all the time in case it dies again. But I'll show you some interim updates as I go. Well, that one doesn't want to go. You have to free that off first. Managed to press both pistons in slightly with the vise. I don't want to press them too far because I don't want the, get out of the way of the light, don't want the rusty bits going down into the cylinder further than necessary. So I've pressed them both in a bit and then soaked them down with, God, I'm right in the light, aren't I? There we go. I've pressed them both down a bit and then soaked them down in WD-40 again. We'll leave those to soak for a bit until we try again. One piston out. The piston, as you can see, is in pretty terrible shape. But actually, the cylinder behind the seal, if you can see in there, you probably can't, I can barely see in there. But it doesn't look too bad, I think it will clean up all right. In the end, I ended up clamping the piston in the vise and alternating between compressed air and a few blows with the hammer on the caliper, and eventually it popped out. So I shall repeat the exercise with the same one. I've already been doing a bit. You can see it's come out some way already. In between, I'm just soaking it down with more WD-40. And yeah, we'll get a light in there in a minute, see how it is. When they go, they don't half go with a bang. I'm slightly deaf in one ear now, as the even just me feathering the pressure, the piston really popped. So lots of cleaning up to do, but inside I've just run my finger around the inside of both holes. Make your own joke here. And they're absolutely fine, no scoring or anything. So yeah, we can clean these up and and give them a coat of paint at some point. So this is after a first pass with the world's most anemic bench grinder. Look at that, 150 watts. If you touch anything even slightly too firmly to this wheel, it slows down and stops. Nonetheless, got the worst off, got it back to bare metal in some places. You can see that this one's much more corroded, but still okay. I've used a hammer and chisel just to chisel off some of the worst of it. Next step is I'm going to hit it with a Dremel and a wire wheel to get into the worst bits. Probably have to come back with hammer and chisel around here. Take some more bits off where it's sort of semi-loose. Hopefully there's enough material there for it to be worthwhile. But yeah, little wire wheels, a bit more hammer and chisel, give it another clean up. I don't know if you can see this, but I now have as many metal hairs in my arm as I do normal ones. These things shed. I've gone through 3. I think I've got these about as good as they're going to get. I've been back to the big wheel a couple of times. Most of the worst's gone. Still going to go over them and brake cleaner with a toothbrush. Get them properly ready for paint. Degrease them after that. They're not great. But with a coat of paint, 3 coats of paint probably, they'll be better than what's on there. Let's have another go at these calipers. There we go. Still a little bit of work to do, but I've run out of time for today. But largely all the rust knocked off here. I could still do a little bit more in places. Maybe some rust converter on them. Just soak them in that. See how they come up. Then clean and prep for paint. Haven't picked paint yet, but I think I might go with yellow for the calipers. I think that would look pretty good against the probable dark grey of the car. We shall see.